They tried to stop my shine, but I said, hold up. Y'all know how many hoes done tried to hold this hoe up?
Tokyo
Talk
Boy.
to music. These hoes ain't know. Craig on his 10th show. Said these hoes don't know. Craig on his 10th show. Hey, thought he couldn't do it, but he could. Thought he wouldn't do it, but he would. Ha, 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 ha. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We're back. We're back. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Say we back. Say we back. What's up, y'all? I am back. I am sorry I missed y'all last week. I was traveling. I was all in Baltimore. I was talking about my memoir, All Like a Bear, my life in the strip club of the Gay Washington D.C. for a class at McDaniel College. So I apologize. But first, I need to let y'all know it's Craig's Pop Life, a black gay excursion into pop culture. But you know where you are because it's where you're at. I'm your host, Craig Seymour. You know me. I'm a veteran music journalist. Well, I said veteran, real veteran. Like I'm a veteran music journalist. Been in this game for 20 over 20 damn years at this point. But you can catch up on me if you choose, if you care, at randbeing.com. I'm an author. I'm the author of Luther: The Life and Longing of Luther Vandross, a good old biography of the R&B king, the R&B god. And then I'm also the author of a memoir, All I Could Bear. I just damn said that. Oh, but anyway, it's All I Could Bear, My Life in the Strip Clubs of Gay Washington, D.C. That's a memoir about how I was a stripper hoe in grad school. Read all about it. The kids are learning about it. The kids are you know, reading it in school. So hell, keep up. And then I'm the author of a novel, Who's Your Daddy? About three generations of black gay men looking for that good old love, and of the upcoming special, A Critical Meditation on the Life and Artistry of Janet Jackson. And that's coming soon, y'all. I know you're like, but you done said it's supposed to be out. I know, I know, I know. But, I'm a one man band. I'm doing it. It's, independent shit. It's black business. You know what I'm saying? And I just need to finalize a few more things just to get it right for y'all because I know I'm going to get read for filth if the shit ain't right. So I'm saying let people wait a little while longer and get the shit right, so I won't get read as opposed to just throwing something out and y'all gonna be, well, why didn't you do this? Well, why didn't you do that? Well, here, look at this typo here, and then why didn't you talk about that? I don't want to hear it from y'all, so that's why I'm just taking a little bit more time to get a little bit more right. Um, so anyway, we're gonna do what we always do right about this time, and just talking about my pop culture, what I've been watching in the pop culture universe for the week, my picks and what not. Um, this week is a little bit different because honestly, I usually start with music, but I don't really have a whole lot of new that I've been listening to. I have a whole list of stuff to check out, stuff that came out like today. Um, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have a new single out, their first solo single. Y'all probably know, but if you don't, you can read about it in my book or you can hear about it now. But, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, after they left the time and prior to Control, they were going to put together like a little group kind of like Chic or something that was called The Secret, where they were going to record little tracks and everything. But it was kind of going to be kind of like a mix of a studio group and maybe they would go live. It was an idea in development. But two of the tracks for The Secret were You Could Be Mine, um, on Control, and also What Have You Done For Me Lately was a secret track. So, but anyway, so they never got around to releasing that. Cut to all these damn years later, and they're finally releasing their first solo track, and it's a cut. I can't even remember the name of it, y'all. But anyway, you can search it on your Spotify's or your, if you're like me, on your titles because I support black businesses. Um, and it has just singing as Ann Nesby on it. You could never go wrong with having Ann on something. Um, you know, I'm still wearing your name and just all that kind of stuff. And also, Big Jim Wright, who we lost last year, was it? But, who we lost that was just such a crazy, crazy, incredible talent and just work with so many of, our faves. And I still just have to always go back to the performance that he and Janet did on the Rosie O'Donnell show of I Get Lonely. I mean, it's just so just it's just such a soulful, stripped down moment, and just really you can see what he brought to the table. So anyway, that's all on the new Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis on the new Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis single. And then also the Anderson .Paak album has some crazy features on it. It has a lot of people, like my loves, like Layla Hathaway, and then it has good old Smokey Robinson doing his thing. It has Jasmine Sullivan. Where's she at? We need a new album. But anyway, she's at least showing up for a couple of minutes on this Anderson .Paak album, and Brandy. So I'm going to check that out probably after I finish recording this. But so there's that. And the only song that I really, kind of into this week, that came out this week, is the K Tronada and Van Jess. Is it Von Jess or Van Jess? Child, I'll be listening to different music too. I don't even know. Let me see. Uh, it is Van Jess. I thought it was Van Jess. Anyway, so the Van Jess K Tronada track is called Dysfunctional. And it's really, K Tronada, he just comes up with these tracks and they're really modern and electro, but it's kind of like a modern and electro take on like an old school roller skating jam. So I just love them. And Dysfunctional is really that track. And if you don't know K Tronada by this point and you Jan fam, you definitely should check out his mix of If. Just Google his mix of If. And if you're a Shawn Mendes stan, as I proudly am, what, you should definitely check out the K Tronada mix of Where Were You in the Morning, because that is quite hot. And if you don't know the female duo Van Jess, like I just verified, you have to check out their album from last year, Silk Canvas, because that's really good. It's like modern R&B, but that's really rooted in the 90s. You listen to the tracks, you're going to hear a little bit hint of Aaliyah here and there, a little bit of Velvet Rope here and there. And they're two sisters. They're, kind of like Chloe and Howie. They're Nigerian American. And something about their voices kind of brings to mind one of my favorites, Karen Wheeler, who we first got to know via Soul to Soul. And interestingly enough, like that Soul to Soul's Club Classics Volume 1, the album, that gave us Keep On Moving and Back to Life, that's actually celebrating its 30th anniversary, I think this week or so. So, shout out to that. And this is just crazy random, and I'm just saying it just because it's like the Soul to Soul 30th anniversary and stuff, and it's Soul to Soul related. But did y'all know that there's a Soul to Soul mix of George Michael's Freedom 90, the song with the video with all the supermodels in it and all that kind of stuff? Because I didn't until they re-released Listen Without Prejudice with the with some extra tracks, the expanded version of that album, and it's crazy because it's Soul to Soul mix, and he's straight singing Back to Life over the Freedom 90, over like Freedom 90. He's serving you all sorts of cold, fresh air. Feel the melody that's in the air, all sorts of that realness. So that's just interesting. So you might, if you didn't know about that, you might want to check that out. It's called Freedom 90, the Back to Reality mix. But that's all I got for y'all musically this week. I'm gonna do better next week, but that's basically all I got for you this week. On the TV tip, I watched, of course, the new FX series Fosse Verdon, and that's basically because I've been obsessed with Bob Fosse since I saw his brilliant semi-autobiographical film All That Jazz at the very inappropriate age of 11. But anyway, that's the way it was in the 70s, and I saw it. And he's influenced in terms of like modern pop. He's influenced everything from like the Paula Abdul's Cold Hearted Snake video to Beyonce's Get Me Bodied and Single Ladies. And kind of the premise of this show is showing how his marriage to actress Glenn Verdon is kind of like a corrective, trying to correct the historical record by showing how much of a role she played in his directing and choreography and all like that, and to the expense of her own career. So it's really kind of like really bringing, and that was such the way of those times, the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, but just where women would contribute to, um, whether it's the artistry of the business or whatever of their husbands, and then not really get recognition for it. So I think it's really great that we're kind of go in this time where we can reassess and we can look back and really um, start to talk about these kind of gender issues, especially with regard to a marriage, and just the roles that women had in, because I think a lot of times and this is kind of like, I think a lot of times we think of divorce and stuff like that, we think of the whole concept of like a traditional marriage, maybe the man's going out and working or getting his law degree or doctor, becoming his medical degree or whatever, and like wifey is holding it down at home, which enables him to go out and do that. But I think there's also the paradigm, which is certainly the Fosse Verdon thing, where the wife is actually a major part of whatever the husband is doing and didn't get that kind of credit for that role, and probably still holding shit down at home. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think we really, these conversations are very, very necessary to have, and I think that that's a good thing that the show is doing. The problem that and also Michelle Williams is pitch perfect as Gwen Verdon. I've been down with her ever since Brokeback Mountain. Jack Twist, Jack Nasty, ever since that scene. So she's great in it. But overall, the problem with this series, I think, well, I only watched one damn episode, so what I'm talking about. The problem with the episode I watched, with the first episode, is just that it is so hard when you're doing a series about somebody that's like a great director, or especially a great director, I think, because it's very, I mean, you're talking about one of the best film directors and stuff. And so I'm judging the TV show based upon that. And it's like they're trying to recreate scenes from, some of Fosse's great work in Sweet Charity or Cabaret. And it's like, I'm looking at the shots like, well, I'd rather just see the original versions, So it has that weird thing going on, but I'm gonna check it out. I at least want to stay. It's only 10 episodes, so I'm gonna stay through it. At this time we're just buying time till Pose comes back on. So in terms of FX, so I'm gonna stay through it, but we will see. And the other thing I watch, I'm not a sports person at all, but I watch that Netflix has this show on called Losers, and it's about like sports people that were, very, very talented and almost at the top of the game, but they just stopped short of like getting that championship ring or getting that gold medal or something like that. And it tells their stories. So, it's a fascinating concept. Even though I don't really care about sports, and I probably won't watch another episode until there's another person that I know about and care about. But one of the episodes is on the ice skater Sawyer Bonelli, who I was obsessed with in the 90s. I mean, she would get out there and just give you all sorts of black girl magic all over the ice. You know what I mean? And I loved her, watching her so much. Like, I would just get, it's that inspiration you get from like just watching black excellence, where you just feel empowered. You just feel like, yes, I can go out here and make my mark in this arena. So, and and I know she ain't get the goal. I know she like fell and stuff and ain't get what I thought she was gonna get. So I've been interested in that story. So I watched that particular episode, and I highly recommend it. It does a really good job of like showing what she was up against, because she in a lot of ways faced the same things that like Venus and Serena are talking about, like that, or that we saw them experience in tennis, where she was called, like, she had an attitude and she ain't dressed right, and she was too flashy and she was too athletic and she wasn't ladylike enough and all that kind of stuff. I mean, she faced the same thing on the ice that Venus and Serena were facing on the tennis court. So it's interesting. And what I really like about it is the show does a great job of showing how, like, no spoiler zone here, but just ultimately, you are left feeling very empowered and uplifted by the situation, even though the situation, when she was on the ice, it went left. It's kind of the way you make a life from that. And, that shit ain't the end of the world. It ain't the end of, it's not ultimately doesn't, I mean, any sort of achievement, it ultimately doesn't define who you are. But I think as we're caught up in our day to day and we're, hustling and we're trying to make a difference and make our mark and stuff like that, it's easy to forget that. So I think that's one of them things that we always need to be reminded of. Like, as we're out here chasing our goals, doing our hustle, that is great. But the end goal of that is not necessarily like the defining thing. It really is all about the journey, even though that sounds cliche. And like I said, it's very easy to forget that when you have your eye on that destination and you want that so much. And that's the key to, like, you getting recognized in your field. That's the key to you paying off your student loans. That's the key to so much that you have wrapped up into. It gets easy to forget about the journey. But shows like this, I think, help remind us of that. So I would really recommend that. That's Netflix Losers. And like I said, I just watched the Sawyer Bonley episode, and that's probably all I'm going to watch. But that is a very good episode. And then I'm just back to watching, Sabrina and shit. But yeah, and you should check out. You want to make sure your Netflix is all good and warmed up and acting right before Beyonce's homecoming next week. So watching a good episode of Losers is a good way to kind of make sure everything's right with the Netflix. Because you don't want to show up and, I don't know, you ain't pay your bill or something. And then Netflix ain't right. You don't want that to happen when you're trying to watch Homecoming. You want everything to be good and right. So that is that. And then, but for me on TV, this was really like the week for documentaries. Because another thing that I really recommend is I was watched the first part, well, the first two parts, but they aired together, of PBS's Reconstruction after the Civil War. And I will have to say, like, even if you think you know history and whatnot, this show will still, I think, have you shook just thinking about, how much potential there was for some kind of racial equity and things right after emancipation. And just it seemed like so hopeful and so full of promise after, you know, not that long ago, people, who were enslaved didn't have no hope, didn't ever think that this system of oppression would end. And then so all of a sudden it did. And then it was, can you imagine that going from a situation where it's completely hopeless to you actually feeling like you have some hope and are able to act upon that, but then shit just got all kinds of fucked up, and this PBS series really goes through that, and it's so important to have that context because it's like, it really has taken us from Reconstruction, back in the 18 whatevers to the 65s, and stuff like the 60s and 70s, um, till now when it's just now that we're having serious conversations like about reparations where it's not an intellectual conversation. It's not something, Ta-Nehisi's writing about in the Atlantic or anything like that, but actually like our political um, candidates are talking about it, our presidential people that want to be president. And that's deep. There's that leap to where reparations is actually part of a national conversation and not just a part of things that are happening among people that are, working for social justice and everything. So it's just really interesting to see how almost like just, I mean, I don't know. It's just incredible. It's just really incredible, like how deep the fear of black empowerment and black, the ability of black people to vote and just stuff like that, how much that struck a fear in white people to such extent that it really founded the basis of that white identity that was formed in direct opposition to blackness. That wasn't necessarily always such a hard line. So it's very interesting. I would definitely check it out. The new episodes come out. It's just 4 episodes, so in 2 parts. So the next ones come out next week. But I would definitely catch up on that. Um, And then lastly, this was kind of random, but I finally watched that documentary 808 about the Roland drum machine, and I really liked it. It was something I was just watching. I don't know. I was watching on my phone for some reason. It just came up. It was an Amazon Prime type thing. You know how sometimes it just comes up on your phone. But anyway, it was really, it's just, of course, I know the power of the 808 in terms of, how important it was to records I love and stuff like that. But just having it all, again, it's like the reconstruction thing. Just sometimes documentaries do a great job of like breaking stuff down and kind of putting stuff we already know into a frame that is, that just makes us really recognize the importance of things and just understanding and the interesting thing about the 808, again, no spoilers, but I didn't realize that it actually had a limited run, that it wasn't like something you couldn't just go buy it all the time. Like, there were a certain number of 808s that were made, and they were also made from a defective part. So once they couldn't get that defective part anymore, that they were knowingly buying, knowing it was defective, but that was the key to making um, the 808 sound like not real drums, but just something altogether different. Once they couldn't get that part no more, they stopped making them. So it's just amazing that out of that limited number of machines came so many genres, um, different styles of like early hip hop, freestyle, house, electro, drum and bass, and so on and so on and so forth. So I thought that was interesting. And kind of on a related note, but moving on to books, I finally finished Hanif's Abdurrahman's. Am I pronouncing that right? Abdurakib. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But anyway, his book, "Go Ahead in the Rain," notes to a tribe called Quest, and obviously from the title, you get that it's a personal appreciation of tribe. But overall, the way it kind of came across to me is just a beautiful poetic love letter to hip hop in general, is the way that I felt about it. I mean, acknowledging hip hop's many elements, its kind of diverging and converging histories and aesthetic trajectories, and it makes sense that it was poetic because Hadith is a poet. So, but it's just some really wonderful parts. And the part I really loved about it that really touched me so much is when he was writing about the importance of sampling to hip hop and like what that means in terms of paying sort of respect to the music that's come before. And I'm just going to read a little part. He says, "The art of the sample is also the art of breathing life into someone who doesn't have a life anymore. The wind blows a memory of someone into the room through sound, and the architect captures that memory with their bare hands and puts it on wax." So I just thought that was, I mean, how have you ever read a more poetic description of sampling and the importance of sampling and how that keeps um, certain sort of sonic traditions alive and everything. So again, I would check that out for anybody who really lovers of great music writing. I think that's definitely it's just such I mean, like, he does this thing, like, he sets another kind of, not a bar, because all the different music writing, you know, it there's a lot of different ways to do great music writing, but in terms of that kind of personal approach to the music and kind of integrating personal history with musical history and that kind of thing, I think he definitely kind of set a new standard. So shout out to him, and I do recommend that. So, lastly, let's move on to the good old cinema. I just saw Little a couple of hours ago. Everybody knows that's the flick with where, sort of a super tech businesswoman played by Regina Hall, um, through some kind of magic, is turned into a 13-year-old, and, you know, hijinks ensue. Um, and I was so excited about the film because, and again, no spoilers, but just, Issa, I love Issa, I'm insecure addict, Regina Hall. I've been telling y'all to see Support the Girls. I love her, and then I like Marseille from Blackish. I'm not gonna tell y'all no plot twist, nothing. I'm not really trying to frame. Well, I'm not really, I'm not gonna review it like soup to nuts, but I do feel like I need to tell y'all what to kind of expect going in. Because if somebody had told me that, I think I would have taken it in a little differently. Um, like but let me just talk about the performance. Just before I even get into that, let me just talk about how great the performances were, because that's unqualified. Like Issa, she's again doing her thing, what she does best, kind of pulling humor out of awkwardness. Regina Hall, Regina Hall, Regina Hall. I don't know how many times I can say that. She's just is like a living, breathing acting masterclass. She brings so much warmth and depth and heart to a role that really could have been one note. And then, so she just really does her thing with that. I just love her. Um, I think no matter how much you think she's great, I think she's still underrated from that level, because she really just, I think she has such untapped potential, and she just brings so much, like I said, kind of heart and soul to her roles. And she's able to be like deeply moving and also completely hilarious. So shout out Regina Hall. And then 14-year-old Marseille Martin, who y'all probably know as she's one of the twins from Blackish. And she actually came up with the idea. Like, I knew she had come up with the idea for Little, and she was an executive producer, and that makes her the youngest executive producer in the history of Hollywood. But what I did not know is that she actually came up for the idea of Little and pitched it to the studio when she was 10. So we're talking about like, this is something like every other Hollywood project is years in development, but just the precociousness of it all. I'm shook. Um, and so she's a revelation. I mean, she's fantastic on Blackish, but really nothing prepared me for the range that she displays playing an adult trapped in a teenager's body. I mean, she really, that is a very difficult thing to pull off. And she really does make you think like, is a grown ass woman inside, a little ass body. So shout out to her. Shout out to, young black women making power moves in Hollywood and everything like that. Now, all that said, I mean, the primary thing that I would tell people, particularly grown ass people, before they see the movie is that it definitely skews younger than at least what I had expected, given what the ads say, and given, the ads are always talking about like from the producer of Girls Trip, from the producer of Girls Trip. So, like, not like I was expecting a Girls Trip level adultness, but I was expected a little bit closer to that than what I felt like I got. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the film definitely puts the 13 in PG-13. So just be aware of that. And sitting in the movie theater, I'll always watch the trailers to try to tell y'all if you should get there on time to see the trailers. And I thought, having just seen Us, I thought it was just weird that like wasn't really a I thought there would be some crossover of the films that I saw with in Us, because they were black films, and none of those. I didn't see no Shaft, I didn't see anything like that, but at one point they played a trailer for the Dora the Explorer movie, and I was kinda like, who they think of seeing this film wanna see Dora the Explorer? I don't have nothing against Homegirl, but, like, I ain't going to see no Dora the Explorer like, and nobody I know in my demographic is trying to see a Dora the Explorer film, unless you're trying to be that good, unless you're a parent or you're trying to be that good uncle or auntie. So I was like, that's a little eyebrow raising, but whatever, I'm good. And like I said, I just think it's really important that you know this aspect of the film before going in to set your expectations. Like, y'all gonna spend a lot of time in junior high school in the film, more than you might have expected from the trailers and stuff. So just know that. Um, and the other thing that I would say, like, it's a little ridiculous to complain about, you know, plot holes and things not making 100% sense in a film that's inherently based in something that's absurd. A grown ass woman turned into a little girl. But at the same time, it's like the movie is kind of longish. Like it's pushing the 2 hour zone, and so I feel like they were trying to keep it low. So they were probably editing a lot of things out, and just just so you're gonna there a little bit of like stuff where you're kind of going now. What they doing and why are they doing that? Like, that it's just you feel like you're missing that one little, even if it's like a 30-second thing, you're missing that one little link. There are a lot of little moments like that. But all said, like I said, I'm totally glad I saw it. And I'm a person that walks out of films. Like I'll just be sitting in a film, and I don't even have to hate a film to walk out of it, but I just be thinking about like shit I need to get from Target and just all sorts of things, and just be like, this and just maybe I'll catch the rest of it on cable sometime, but I have shit to do, so I'm just leaving. Like I walked out of the as much as I love Rihanna, I walked out of that Ocean's film. I don't even know Ocean something. What was it, Ocean 8, Ocean somebody? I walked out. Not I wasn't even like it wasn't like I was really not liking it to that extent. I just kind of at some point didn't really care about what was going on, and like I said, I had shit to do. So I'm glad I saw this. I never felt like I wanted to leave, nothing like that. I would recommend it to you as long as you know what you're getting into. There's some fine ass eye candy men in the film. You got the good old Luke James and Justin Hartley from This Is Us. So, you definitely have something to look at. Um, but like I said, just as long as you know what's up, don't go hiring no babysitter. Like, don't go incurring no extra expense. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe go in the afternoon, maybe go on matinee. When the kids are at a play date or something like that. Like I said, like the more you calibrate your expectations, including your financial expectations, I think the more that you will enjoy it. Don't necessarily get the jumbo popcorn with butter and a whole bunch of stuff. Just maybe get you a small, you know what I'm saying? Like, just really try to keep the expenses kind of on the low, just kind of make it real casual, like. And I think, don't build no date night around it. Just like I said, just keep it real casual, real. Oh, let me see. Oh, it's cute. Oh, I love Asa. I love and Marseille so cute, and Regina's good. It's kind of like that experience. So, like I said, if you do that, I sincerely think that you will enjoy it. And shit, what else you gonna see? You gonna see that tired Taraji flick where she, whatever, tries to redeem the KKK ass white man. I mean, ain't nobody trying to see that. So what else you gonna see? So anyway, so that is it for me this week. I thank y'all for, this is the 10th damn show. Like, I thank y'all for whatever you're doing. If you even made it to this is your first episode, you even made it this far. If you ain't even make it this far in the episode, and you just speeding through trying to figure out when I'm going to talk about little, whatever you've done, anything you've done with relationship to my podcast, I appreciate. Especially if you've like shared it with somebody, or even if you give me feedback and just said something, just encourage me to keep going, because it's like any creative endeavor, like, it's, it's fun and everything to get started, but it's the hard part is to sustain and to hold on and everything like that. And I love doing it. So y'all that love it and tell me you like it and tell me, you can't wait for the next episode, that just means so much to me. Um, you know, and just so whatever you've done, if you listen to one episode, if you listen to all 10, I just thank you because I'm at 10 now. I'm going to keep going. And, thank you guys for. I'm trying to. This was year. I'm stopped saying you guys. So thank you all for just supporting me and adding another creative outlet to my life, basically. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all, and I thank you. So, as always, what we do at this time, be cool, y'all, be kind, be creative, and in the words of my good old fave, Shaka Khan.
Be your damn self.
So, again, thank y'all. Number 10, only way to go is more. Um, and I love y'all, and I'm out. Okay, talk to y'all next week. Bye.